Hello, and welcome to Night Clerk Radio, episode 144, March-ish. Maybe at the end of the month. I think we'll squeeze it in March. New music. I'm Burke, joined by Ross. It's very exciting. We're actually putting the night in Night Clerk Radio. Normally we record like randomly in the afternoon, but it's the evening.
It is.
We're all full. We're all trying not to food coma as we talk about new music. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not anyway. I don't know how you're doing.
I had a light dinner, so get out.
Okay. That's when you're being very responsible.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to be healthier and all that jazz.
Yeah, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
So yeah, new music. Nothing really otherwise to report. So unless you got something you want to talk about, I just kind of want to get into shout outs because I'm worried. We're talking about the shout outs are a particular favorite subject of mine. So I'm worried about being yappy. So
No, I'm eager to dive into them. They're very good.
Okay, then I'll just go first. All right, a little bit of a preface. So I'm already engaging with the promised yapping. I didn't know what I felt like shouting out. So I just picked out 3 bad movies from our recent movie nights. And boy, they're stinkers. And that's like the preface that I want to give is I have such a soft spot for like this outsider art, just people kind of doing their thing, making whatever, doing their best. So when I see these are like, you say so bad it's good because that's the term everyone knows, but I don't think that really matters. I don't think that really fits here. I think they're a unique kind of bad that you have to be into. So I just want to warn you because like I'll talk to people and they're like, yeah, I love so bad it's good movies, dude, like Armageddon. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, just like, or I guess, it's really funny is like my uncle will be like, Die Hard 2 is so bad it's good. Point Break. I'm like, no, those are good movies. Just because they're not fucking like Bergman and Fellini and shit doesn't mean you need to like invent a term to feel good about enjoying them. Those are just good movies. But these, I just warn that you must be of a temperament to watch these. That's all.
Yeah, they're outsider art of cinema.
They're outsider art. They're largely incompetent. They're mostly short and they're interesting. So in no real particular order, I guess. We'll go number 1. We're just going to start off with Despiser, which is one that's been going around our group recently. You actually were recently a guest on Good Views, Bad Views with Max, who's guest on the, we should have Max back, was a guest on the show a couple years ago. It's a podcast, drink a couple beers, kind of record a commentary track to a bad movie. You did this Despiser, just something I sort of crate dug out of YouTube.
You are very good at video crate digging. You are.
I've developed a system of scrolling through like Tubi and Prime and YouTube because there's just all these YouTube channels that just have like full forgotten movies and like you just kind of pick ones that have like shitty weird titles. Like if they have like a simple dumb title, it usually works, or if they have like a weird cover, they usually work. So Despiser is a film by this guy Philip J. Cook. It's a bit of a he's a self-made director. Been doing movies since the late 80s, going back to doing like his own little minis in his basement and stuff in the early 90s up through just a couple of years ago, having movies come out. Probably has another one since that one, Ghost Planet or whatever. Yeah. Where his techniques evolved. It's less CG. So this is 2001. So it's like a beautiful mix of a little bit of practical, but a ton of cheap CG. So
early 2000s CG.
Early, like I can just kind of start to do this on commercial, like home equipment, kind of. So it's like Killer Bean, but doesn't get as much time to render, basically. that kind of era of CG.
And so much green screen. Yeah.
A lot of green screen. The thing I love about all the movies we watched by him, though, because we did a couple, is that they're like unabashedly really like fun, high concept sci-fi. That's actually something that's kind of all 3 of these. And one of the things that makes kind of like a good, bad movie, to keep using that term, is like there has to be like a little nugget of something interesting, but they couldn't quite execute. So it doesn't come across as like meandering, because there's some where we've watched where it's like, oh, this person has no idea what they want to make. They just want to film themselves for 90 minutes and call it a movie. So, it's this down on his luck artist. He dies in a car crash, if I remember correctly, and then wakes up and he's in purgatory, and purgatory's been taken over by demon aliens, and he's got to join up with some people spanning across history to fight the demons and save purgatory and get his life back on track.
Let me just say, this is an isekai before that term existed.
Sure.
Like,
he's like in a car crash. He wakes up in like purgatory world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ton of CG, ton of wacky characters. It's just trying, and it's great.
Oh yeah. Great camera angles.
Yeah, this guy loves making movies. He's just making the best he can with what he's got. It's perfect.
So for my first shout out for my theme this episode is going to be music videos, because people are still making them. And there's still a lot of weird, great ones on YouTube. And so these are some that I have found recently that I have enjoyed. And so the first one is from a dungeon synth / metal group called Warlock Corpse. Again, great name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a live performance, that kind of music video, of you and I are in a dark crypt forever. And it's shot to made look like it was shot on VHS. It might have actually been shot on VHS. They might have jury-rigged something together. But there's candelabra and a tapestry behind them and on a Persian rug. And they're just playing this funky dungeon synth. And it's good dungeon synth. It's very much, it's exactly the kind of music, and they look exactly like you would expect a group called Warlock Corpse to look like. And so they have like an inverted cross made from keyboards on the right side of this.
I see this. This is nice. Yeah, I was going to say live drums. I like. It's got your blend of modern and antique with dungeon synth. Or this is more, I guess. Yeah, we'll call them dungeon synth, right? You know, he's got his like little spiked leather gauntlets, but also a laptop from which to play his synths.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So just fun.
Yeah. All right. Up next, 2017's Portal Man. This is a trifecta film, which means written, directed, starring by the same person trying to get their idea out. Once again, an interesting idea at its core, but unfortunate execution. It's a guy who finds himself in a world of portals where he's continually hunted by another person. And every time he kills them, a portal opens and he moves to like another, it's like sliders, you know, like into an alternate dimension of New York. It's around New York City. And he runs into this lawyer who gets pulled along with him, and he eventually, you know, fights back and escapes this, you know, Sisyphean hell of continually fighting this other person across all these portal worlds, only to end up a suburban dad. Again, this one's interesting because it's in the modern, it's newer, right? So it one thing that's really weird about new cheap movies is they look much less cheap in some ways.
Yeah.
Because you can rent like a Blackmagic 2K or 6K or something for the weekend. Shoot your movie. But still a lot of like cheap CG, a lot of green screen, a lot of drone shots, a lot of like guerrilla filming on the streets of New York, and people in the background
shots.
like staring at them because they're like, especially because the lead actress just yells every line. It's
she's very angry.
She's got one note that's yelling. But what really sealed this movie for me, and I have a little clip of it I've been passing around. I'll put it like in the Discord or something, is in one of the universes, they have flying cars, and there is like a 5-minute flying car chase, but the cars are Lego models that he built and just filmed like little Lego models on wires through like a CG stock background. It's amazing.
Oh, it's great.
There's like insanely like over the top, like EDM, like throughout this whole movie, the whole soundtrack.
Yeah,
it's like, what if it was just, it was like 3 tracks. Like, what if, you know, The Matrix had Spy Break? What if I just played that for the whole 90 minutes instead of the one gunfight scene?
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what it's like, but it's just another bit of like weird little outsider art. So if you want some strange fucking sci-fi, go for it.
Yeah. So my next shout out is a music video from Max Cooper, legitimate, you know, music producer and very talented. And his music videos are always visual feasts. And this particular music video for his track called A Sense of Getting Closer. The whole deal of it's this montage of advertisements, but array like newspaper advertisements and TV ads and all these other things, still images that are arrayed in these increasingly geometric and fractal patterns, you know, very kind of like what if the Sunday advertisements in the newspaper were made by MC Escher kind of vibes. And it's extremely beautiful, hypnotic to watch, especially like on a big screen or something like that. And Max Cooper's channel is also worth diving through because he hasn't had out. He takes his time between music videos, but they're always beautiful and abstract and interesting. Like Repetition has really good architectural, like Inception kind of shots. And, but like, I think A Sense of Getting Closer, like one of my favorite movies of all times is Koya Natsukaze. And like this kind of gave me this same kind of vibes of the width and breadth of humanity. But in this case, it's like print advertisements, especially played over the screen in all these incredible animated patterns. And so it's a really cool music video, and I think everybody should watch it.
Yeah, I didn't get these links in time to watch before, so I'm kind of scrubbing through as you're talking, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Last, but certainly not least, our final movie is 2023's Born into a Dream. This is one from schlock auteur Damien Chapa, who is not as famous as like a Tommy Wiseau, but he's just been making this kind of dreck for ever, it feels like. Mm-hmm. So this one, 2023, this time he casts his son as the lead, and it's about a bunch of quirky lads that end up somehow in a shared dream, and they have to help each other, work each other through their trauma. And intentionally or not, it very much embraces the dream logic where nothing really makes sense scene to scene because stuff is just happening. I think the scene that sent around to most people is, for some reason, it's a dream. There's a guy with a sitar and he starts playing, but like blues comes out, like noir jazz comes out of his sitar, not sitar music, not sitar sounds. And then they all start dancing. And I was sitting around being like, I'm going to tell my kids this is Twin Peaks, because Twin Peaks has a lot of just like play music and dance. So I don't know. This one is on there just because it's so bizarre. And to say that it didn't leave something of an impression on me, it deserves some credit. Also spawned a little inside joke amongst the Tub community, which is our bad movie server I mentioned before, which is, I think I was just kind of like losing my mind like 75 minutes through. And I was just like, well, at least it's shot well, which is true comparatively. Not every shot is great, but it's got like headroom. Stuff is usually in focus. And that's like a big for these movies. Like that basic cinematography check of like, is what I want in frame and what I want in focus is a common miss. So, yeah, but it had like coverage. It was like a conversation. Yeah. There's your wide establishing of the three of them. You had appropriate close up for lines or reactions. You had consistent eye lines of like everyone was looking in the right place all the time. And like this doesn't sound like much because if you just watch like well-made movies, it's just the norm. It's just people who know what they're doing, just know to do this. But it doesn't come up very often in all of the not like these real to-be nonsense films that we dig up. So like so now whenever a movie's bad, I say, well, at least it's shot well.
Yeah. Well, I like the real tell for me was like he shot outdoor scenes in like a park or like a backyard or something, and the backgrounds weren't blown out because like
the water wasn't just white.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
Sun reflection.
Exactly. Like all these movies when they shoot in the park or something like that. One, the audio is terrible because they aren't mic'd up properly. And two, like the background is just blindingly bright because they're shooting for the under the tree shade or whatever. Well, and they don't know how to compensate for that. They don't have the lighting for that. They didn't. Well,
they're outside. It's like, well, we'll shoot outside because we won't need lights. It's bright outside. And you're like,
not how that works.
You need lights kind of everywhere if you want it to look good. The way
what's dynamic range? Way. What the hell is that?
Yeah, what M exposure? So I don't know. It's probably the hardest of the three to maybe get through, but it's
the least conventional of the three. Yeah,
it's the least. It's well shot and it's unconventional.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a generational legacy trifecta, right? Because it's writer directed the same guy, but like he's using his son now. It's like Crusader Kings, but for a little bit budget. Yeah.
Also, for some reason, his kid showed up dressed like fucking Leon Kennedy.
Yeah, that's right.
To the set. Yeah. He's got like a black jacket with like a gigantic...
Same haircut, yeah.
Same haircut.
Yep.
Big, cheap white fleece neck on a leather jacket. Mm-hmm. His name's Americano with a K. Other great character names, Pig Feet, leader of Casman. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great character name.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fucking good.
It's very good. So my last music video is Centercore Nevermore by Jim Wilson. Again, the algorithm served it up to me. This was uploaded in July 2008. And the first comment is, top comment right now, is the creator of this video died in 2015. In his bio, he said he was a radio guy in North Texas. And you can find articles talking about his death and remembering him. And so he was uploading these videos. He was clearly retired. So the description for this says, an animation I made on an Amiga 500 with 1 megabyte memory in the early 90s with friends' music recorded to VHS tape. And so it is a weird little animation and music video that is just some guy playing around with this technology that wasn't quite there yet, but they're trying to make it work. And it's a fun little bit. And if you go to the guy's channel, he has a couple other things on there that, his lasting legacy,
Yeah, this looks like a really inspiration for what is that surrealist artist who does the animations of like your roommate's a floating orb that transcended reality.
Oh, Nobi1. Yeah.
Nobi1. Yeah. Thanks. It looks like early.
Yeah. It's definitely the stylistic
surrealist tradition.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it predates it by like 30 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, this animation has been uploaded since 2008, so Nobi1 might have seen it. And certainly like animations of this early 80s, like Amiga and, early PC stuff, early computer games of this era and stuff like that, like certainly were influential. But like, it's just, this weird experiment, this random thing that he uploaded as something to do. And then it's just been saved. Fortunately, it hasn't been deleted yet. So just an interesting little bit of
wild.
Yeah. Art. It's got 300,000 views, but hopefully we can give it some more. But yeah, it's just I just think
I'm sure we'll move the needle on this.
Yeah.
That's our call to action.
Yeah. Watch these. Okay. That's it.
Watch all 6 of these things. Although Ross, this is much less of a time commitment.
Yeah.
More likely to be immediately satisfying. Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, you want to do some music?
Yeah.
And that was a bit from what I now know to be track 3, Passage, off our first album, Music for Chromaticism, by artist Nick Bowers. And this is an album that I sort of just stumbled across just digging through Bandcamp. It just stood out as being different. Like I actually found it across the vaporwave tag, but it stood out to me because like, so obviously titled different. It's like such different art from everything else that was on that page. I decided to take a look. And at the time, only recently did it have individual tracks. When I found this like a week or two ago, it was just one hour track just called, Music for Chromaticism. And I checked it out and I just really, really liked it. So I picked it because I was having a little trouble finding something that was interesting to me, and it kind of really grabbed me. I think a lot of the album is sort of what you feel in that sample, which is like this interesting mix of like lush ambient, like chill pads and melodies, wind instruments, a little bit of glitch here and there. Mm-hmm. Some tracks have like little bits of drum that come in and out. They're like a little, not the same tempo, but that sort of like fusion-y breaks, like syncopated rhythms. Yeah, I just better pick it. And I looked into it, and this album is meant to be an accompanying piece for a painting display by an artist, Rebecca Schrader, called Chromaticism. So that's, the series of paintings are Chromaticism, Music for Chromaticism. And it just got me thinking about like consumption of music and circumstances of how music is meant to be consumed, because it got me thinking about like, well, what does it mean for this to be like music for that? Was it, a collaboration? Because she's also a cellist. So like, I don't know if they're artists that have worked together. And it was very interesting to me because it was, I've always talked so much about like my love of like new age and drone and ambient and stuff. And I've always affectionately called that like aquarium music. It goes back to, I used to just hear it all the time at the Baltimore Aquarium when I go as a kid, that type of stuff. And now I have like literal museum music. Like it's for an art museum display. So like, I would love to know
gallery music.
Yeah, gallery music. And I would love to know, like, did this play alongside it? Like, how does that work? Are you supposed to be like guided through 9 paintings by each track? Maybe it's just a companion piece that's inspired by it and I'm overthinking it. But it got me thinking about just that act of like how you consume music and what that would be like to actually experience the two together. Unfortunately, it's up in East Hampton, Massachusetts, and I'm not really in Boston anymore. And even if I was, maybe that might be a bit of a haul. So I can't go see for myself, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But independent of that, I really, really just dug this album. It's been one of my favorite things of the past couple of weeks to listen to while working. Dig it. Dig it. What'd you think?
Yeah, it's a great discovery. I searched for Chromaticism with the artist names, Rebecca Schrader's name, and the University of Massachusetts Amherst Chromaticism exhibition at ECA, blah, blah, blah. Opening night, March 4th. Opening reception features live experimental cello plus ensemble music. So I'm guessing that this is the music that played for the reception, at least. That would be
that could be. Yeah. And she's probably the cellist because that's her. So she also is on Bandcamp. And that's all her music is like avant-garde experimental cello against synths and electronic music.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, especially how Nick Bowers, like when he was creating this, was this entirely just recorded live as he played it live and this is just a live set? Was this intentionally composed ahead of time? Did he consider it a successful production because his goal was to accompany the art? So the interesting questions, but like, Death of the Author, we're listening to divorced of that original meaning of that author's meaning, which is as it stands alone. And yeah, it's a really interesting album. It's very like lush, I think, is a really good keyword to describe this. It is a very lush ambient, multiple layers, multiple parts of it reminded me of Fortet in a good way, because Fortet also had a lot of these light like bells and chimes and like kind of you feel like birds are fluttering. Fluttery is another word I would use for this.
Sure.
Yeah. And like, it's very experimental, but like in a good way, oscillating between sort of reflective and almost very anxious or nervous or tense music later on. Like one thing that really struck me was the track 3, Passage, the odd beat there. Like it's just such an odd thing, and then fading the singing the birds field recording in. Yeah, in fact, and it almost becomes like more traditional as the album concludes. Like the last tracks are more structured in a way that I could like tag genres to them in a way that makes sense. Like the last 2 tracks in particular, like that track 8, Mountain Confront Sky was almost very nature wavy to me.
Yeah.
Track 9, let's see, Mountain Confront Sky is almost like a late night lo-fi. It's almost like I'm waiting for a 1980s late night news show to start. And then like it really gets into it.
That's interesting. Yeah. So track 8's Cradling the Dying Sun, which is like, just this amazing nature wave. I say new age lovingly. I think for some people, maybe it's like a dirty genre term, but I don't think so. I'm very pro new age music. And that's that good mix of like chill, but a little unsettling. And Mountain Confront Sky. So the newscast is interesting because there's that sort of cliche of like the kind of action auxiliary percussion, like news sting. But I don't know. I just thought it felt, maybe because the title has like mountain, so it just felt more like primal to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is also like, that's interesting. That's funny.
It's such an abstract like subject and concept of an album that like
totally.
It's almost like in a way it's kind of like a Rorschach for us. Like we're projecting our own sort of like
a little bit.
So that's good. I like
and
that.
And I think that's in line with the painting. So I obviously can't see everything at the exhibit, but I think there's an example of 3 paintings from the Chromaticism series on the artist's webpage.
Yeah. Her website. Yeah.
Yeah, her website. And then, of course, I'm pretty sure the album cover is also Light Pours Through the Mountain is also from it. And it's also one that you sort of have to think about, like, what does it look like and what does it mean to you? And it's like playing with form and color, and it's also abstract and experimental. So they're good complements in that way.
I would not have tagged this as Vaporwave, but I'm glad it was because, like, if this is Vaporwave in 2026, I mean, Vaporwave's got a lot of life in it. Like, it's really, I think one of the tracks that really stood out to me, though, was track 7, Light Hangs in the Air, because of how nervous and tense, because it's got the sort of like oscillating synth. It was more energetic than a lot of the other tracks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I really liked the beginning of that one where it's a bit more like droning in the synth. A little, not quite the right, but almost not quite dirgy, but definitely more subdued and like unsettled, which quickly kind of gives way to more wind instruments and these nature sounds and stuff build through, and like all those amazing like pulsing synth pads and stuff. I think that's what I like the most about the album, is that it's very consistently connected to this sort of like experimental ambient, but has these little bits that drift off just enough to be like, oh, that's interesting, what's going on here? But generally manage to sort of end up back more in line with the rest of the album. So let me play another sample, which is, this is a bit from track 6, Strange Objects 2. And I picked this one because I think it has probably one of the more standout like deviations from what's going on for me, which is, you know, it's a lot of these same sort of beautiful synth ambient pads are going. There's just these little bursts here and there of just like drums that come through that are like just nicely like, you know, like just nice little like syncopated like breaks. Not like in the breakbeat, like just this sort of like little fusiony parts that come in and they go back out, and that's all existing against all this other synth and percussion and just all these other layers of instrumentation going on. And then these like little bits of drum cut through. That stuff always gets my attention and stands out to me.
Yeah. Anyway, again, just another really good find, and a really good example of ambient that doesn't get too, like, again, I talk about, I love ambient, but like ambient that gets too samey, that gets too like, I don't know how many, like, especially if I've been trying to get more into like, more like folk or like ambient, like that features more like guitar and stuff like that. But then I'm like 20 minutes into an album and then it's like, this is just the same fucking, this is just a guy noodling on a guitar for an hour. Like, I get it. All right. Do something else. I can do it for 20 minutes, but I'm moving on. Like, I need something more, man. Give me something. Yeah. But you don't have that problem in this album. Like, there's just, it's a delight to the ears.
Yeah, just the variety, the like focused variety, I guess, of everything. Just
it's variety,
together,
but
like,
it all makes sense together as a whole. Like, it all
connects. And
Yeah.
just the right little bits of dissonance and other stuff stuffed in there. So, you know, like there's just in track 1 string drums, it's just not randomly, but there's just all of a sudden at the end we have some like brushed jazz drums. It sounds like they're playing with a brush. Sometimes you have like dissonant staccatoed piano, you know, clicking in, or like the synth glitch a little bit.
Oh yeah. Love me some glitch. You
know, sneak in some other a little bit. Sometimes you have like those big like synth chorus vocals that like pulse through.
Oh yeah,
and stand out against, again, like rain and nature, and just the best of like ambient, new age, experimental, whatever they want to call it. Then call it whatever they want.
Genre is a marketing term. Whatever it is, it's good.
Whatever it is. It's real good, and you should check it out.
that is a sample from track 1, 10,000 in Bramble, from Compendium 5, or Compendium V if you don't know Latin numbers, by Dim. Dim is one of the first dungeon synth artists I was aware of. The first Compendium, Compendium 1, was released back in 2017. And he's done, Compendium 1, 2, 3, Compendium Reliquae. I believe that's the fourth one. And a compilation of the first 4 albums with some extra bonus tracks. And now this year, just in the last month, he popped up with Compendium 5. And it is one of the best examples, I think, of sort of pastoral, or as he describes it, sacral, medievalist electronic music of dungeon, because dungeon synth really does have, like, we all talk about the grimdark, the warlock corpse style,
sure,
of
the black metal adjacent,
and CRPG style, but there's also like dungeon synth that is inspired by music from the Middle Ages, music from historical periods, and this is, I think, a brilliant example of that. It is warm, gentle, lush, but complex and ornate and elegant. And yeah, it's a delightful album, especially as we're entering in spring. Nature is healing. Nature is being reborn.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. It's trying.
It's doing its best.
Yeah. And so this is a great accompaniment to walking in a warm meadow or forest on a nice spring day, if we have any nice spring days left. So, and it has kind of a bit of a storytelling, like all of these albums are telling a story of a wandering, traveling bard or minstrel. And now in this album, he's returning home. And he's aged now. Because again, Dim started this back in 2017. And so it's been quite a long journey. And yeah, it's great. So that's sort of my overall picture of this album. But what did you think, Bert? Because I know dungeon synth isn't your usual jam a lot of the time.
I don't know if that's true. I like dungeon synth. But I think I tend to like this type of dungeon synth, or like slightly more deviating from the influences that you were talking about at the beginning.
The Warlock Scorp school of dungeon synth.
Yeah, just personally, the oppressive silence and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Just because I didn't like play a lot of CRPGs, and I'm not like a big D&D guy, I'm like a big fantasy guy overall. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that, it's not as interesting to me, although I do like it, but I don't seek it out. But I like this album quite a bit. Again, I think it goes back to a big part of it being just kind of what I was saying about the first album, which is like a good amount of, I guess I'm doing this oxymoron of consistent variety, where it's continually like very fantasy, very medievalist, very evocative, but tackles that in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different like types of, if you want to think about this, I think one of the things with these that I always, sort of caveat, especially if the artist is listening, is that I take these types of albums very like visually. I have very cinematic approach to them, and versus like the first album, like this type of stuff, I try to like think about like what types of scenes does this sort of like, put in my mind. And yeah, you get a lot of different, like very evocative, very sort of wondrous, like fantasy scenes, especially I'm thinking like lowish fantasy, we watched, was it Legend the other night or something?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The Tom Cruise, Ridley Scott. I don't know if it's a classic, but it's a cult film now. And I was thinking like that, like somebody just on an adventure, like out of their element, forced to explore the world.
Yeah. And this particular album is a very visual album. It actually has a music video for track 5, Firefly Cathedral. And it is, that actually tune has been stuck in my head all day because I've been listening to this album quite a bit. In fact, I told you last night the power went out. And so I listened to this album right before I went to sleep. I just sat in the dark with my earbuds and
your power outage album?
Yeah, my power outage album. Yeah, it's another one of those.
It's a high honor.
Yeah. It's a good wind down album. But yeah, let's play a sample from Firefly Cathedral. you have this, gentle strings, this warm synth keyboarding coming in, the flutes. It kind of picks up a little bit as and the music video is about this person traveling through the forest, across a lake, and then to the Firefly Cathedral, which is the ruins of a cathedral that now there's a bit of text, there's a bit of storytelling where the guy remembers when the cathedral was still used, it was not in ruins, and now the only light comes from the fireflies. And so, a meditation on the passage of time. Sure. Yeah, there's also just a lot of really lovely choral singing varieties, and I don't know if they were real or sampled or synth, but I highly enjoyed the nice heavenly chorus in a track like this, or in any of or all of these tracks.
Yeah, I think when I think about like grouping tracks together and the kind of stuff I like, there's sort of two like yin and yang type tracks for me. So the ones being the more like down tempo and maybe a little like more, there's two that have kind of like a dirge almost feel to them, especially the sample you played 10,000 in Bramble, especially the beginning, like the first minute before it does transform into something like, more hopeful, evocative and more like melodic. But like that first minute of just kind of like being a little more dirgy, and then track 7 where trees frown, which is also like this sort of sad, dirgy synth against piano.
Yeah.
And then there's like strings in the background. And I don't know if it's, era, I don't know how you say era appropriate. It's a fantasy world. Like pizzicato strings, which is like when you pluck a violin instead of bow it. So it has that, I don't know if that's like that instrument's natural timbre or, just is like pizzicato, some string.
Yeah.
Holding it down in the back with like this kind of like, little, it's more than rhythm. So it's not really ostinato, but there's like this little arpeggio gesture going on in the background. So that type of stuff I really liked. And then there's also ones that are like more adventurous or mysterious. So there's The Veil's Allure, track 2, which is like this little marching, moving into adventure little piece in 3. It's got like a good marching flow to it. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then track 6, Keep to the Lamplit Road, which is again has this kind of like down tempo, mischievous almost intro. But then, who knows where they wander off, they end up wandering off the road because then it kind of grows over time to be more grandiose, and like all these vocals and layered melodies and stuff start to come in. And just overall, like the sort of evocative, hopeful, tons of layered melodies are really what hold a lot of these songs together, like Glint of a Gleaming Shore, parenthesis Home, the last track, it's a pretty fitting end song. It's probably the one that's most at peace.
Yeah.
Of all of them.
That was more synthesized. It almost reminded me of actually the Chillwave artist Home, oddly enough, especially at the beginning.
Okay.
I mean, at the beginning, once the choral singing comes in, I was like, okay, yeah. But yeah, it's a very great way to end the album. Just layers of synth. And again, great piano. And like, I saw some comments on one of the YouTubes of this video that Dim is a trained classical pianist, and I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would certainly believe it. Like the structure of these tracks is a lot more complex than we often see in a lot of dungeon synth, and a lot more refined. It reminded me a lot of like actual chamber music from that era. So yeah.
I don't know if they contributed because I guess they're not really credited, but there are a lot of people thanked in the liner notes, but I'm guessing that's just maybe like a thank you for your support, or it's cool to work together.
Yeah.
Type thing. Yeah. Everybody. Oh, this lonely dying Stuart record.
Yeah.
Also, they have one of my favorite things ever, which is they're not in the US. So if they want you to buy from their website, not Bandcamp, so you don't get screwed on shipping. So all the merchandise is $777 on Bandcamp with a link. Be like, don't buy here, buy here.
Oh, such a classic Bandcamp move.
Yeah. Yeah. Cat System Core and stuff does that too. He's like, please God, buy it here instead of trying to get it shipped from fucking Europe.
Yep.
You're in the US. Yep.
Great.
But some cool stuff like Prince and
and
physical.
If you like this album, you'll probably like the first 4 albums.
Yeah.
So it's a whole series.
Some great stuff. Dark Age Decadence. I'm just looking at Compendium collection.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that. I've only listened to Compendium, so I need to check out some of his other albums. There's another Dungeon Synth artist like this, Fife, who's also very popular. So, but I don't
feel like we've done them before.
We've certainly mentioned them. I don't know if they've released anything that we reviewed properly, but
oh, really? Okay,
yeah, I'm not sure.
It's too many. It's too many episodes to keep track of at this point.
There's so many artists.
Too much.
Yeah, Fife also does the thing of like 1, 2, 3, 4 in like Latin numbers. So
Yeah.
So it's easy to confuse. But Anyways, so, if you're going to an art gallery or the ruins of a cathedral, you have the perfect soundtrack for it now.
Or if your power goes out.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope we've inspired you to go check out a few of these albums, or perhaps a few bad movies or a few good music videos. There's so much to choose from. So next episode, we're going to do a little bit of genre exploring. We're going to do cinematic doom jazz, which I feel like we haven't done in a while. Like we did like Bo and Club of Gore and stuff a long time ago, and like Dale Cooper Quartet and dark jazz. But this is you've dug up an article on cinematic doom jazz. Has a bunch of example artists I'd not really heard of. Some I had, some I hadn't. So going to check out that article and listen to some of that music and come back and talk about it. If you liked this episode, you like what we do in general, we do have a Patreon, Night Clerk Radio at patreon.com. Got a ton of bonus episodes. Listen to us hate on video essays or ramble about mountaineering. It's a lot of like alternate topic type stuff. There's a Discord community, all kinds of stuff. I think, Ross, you've written a thing or two that you posted up there. You should probably do more of that.
Yep.
So, it's optional, but it's appreciated. Wherever, if you do want to check out more of us, you can find us on social media at Night Clerk Radio. At Blue Sky is probably your best bet, or Ross Payton at Blue Sky. Night Clerk Radio at the Gmails, nightclerkradio.com. There's probably a bunch of others, but I don't recommend them. Stick to the ones I say. And wherever you do choose to check us out, but if you can take a moment to do that rate, review, algorithmic signifier, it does help out and it's much appreciated. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you next time. I don't have anything else to say. Usually I have some clever outro. Not today. Right. Not today. The perils of recording at night, perhaps.
Yes. We'll have to record more at night to practice our late night banter.
Yeah, you got to practice.
Yeah. Got to live up to our name.
Yeah. But see, I've gone meta. By pointing out I have nothing to say, I've developed something to say.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. All right. Once again, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.